Hi, my name is Sir Towerman and welcome to another episode of the second channel. If this video isn't on the second channel, it's because the recording is longer than 15 minutes. So what we're going to be doing today is it's going to be a story video. I'm going to be reading this story that I've been making for quite a while now. I've finished it quite a long time ago, but today we're just going to be reading the story. It's going to be chilled back and yeah, we'll have fun. So 15 years unsolved. Chapter 0. It was dark. Lance could barely see anything while he was walking down the street. He thought to himself about why he put himself in this position. He ruined it. There's no way out from what he has done to himself. Without warning, he heard a gunshot. A very loud gunshot from what appeared to be right around the corner from the pavement. He heard another gunshot, as if it was slowly trembling towards him. As he reached the corner, all he could see was the pavement getting closer and closer, falling. He was shot in the head by a mysterious silhouette. Chapter 1. Quentin Kinsella. The mysterious murder of Lance Smith from 15 years ago is still unknown, the news said. The police have written a statement stating they are trying to track the murder but are completely puzzled as there is no information on the killer and where the victim's body is now. Quentin got out of bed and turned off the television. He checked the time on his clock and got in his clothes and drove to work. As he was driving, he noticed a strange-looking silhouette. A silhouette that perfectly matched the description of a witness saw as he was jogging down the street. Quentin accelerated as fast as he possibly could to drive off from the shadow. As it was still in the early mornings of the winter, it was dark. Not many people were visible on the path. It seemed like a ghost town, as it wouldn't normally be this dark in the early morning like this, and there would at least be people in the street and cars on the road. It was only him. Only Quentin was driving. He thought nothing of it as he swiftly drove to his workplace. As he got out of the car and got his suitcase, he noticed that the silhouette was back, even closer this time, so Quentin could get a closer look. It seems as if it was following him, so he quickly ran into his workplace and got to work. Chapter 2. The Investigation. It was the end of work, so Quentin got in his car and drove home. It was now 2 in the afternoon, and there were a ton of people on the street and cars on the road in the afternoon. Quentin suggested to himself that it was quite peculiar that there would be no people in the morning, but too many in the afternoon. He thought nothing of it as he calmly drove home, listening to the music on the radio. As he got home, he was thinking about the Lance Smith case and how the silhouette he saw this morning looked exactly how the description was. So he went on his computer and looked up about the murder case. He found out that it took place exactly on the 22nd of December 2017, his birthday. As he was investigating, he also noticed a YouTube video of a news article from the day after the murder took place. Quentin's tangerine cat then walked over the keyboard, and it showed up a picture of what the victim's portfolio looked like, including his driving license, credit card, passport, and phone on a police website. He then had an idea of looking up Lance on whitepages.com and found his phone number in there. He decided to give the phone number a call from speculation, and after only 2 rings, there was an answer. It was a creepy voice that repeatedly said, "Let go, let go, let go." Quentin did not let go of the phone and did not hang up. The person on the other side did not realise he hung up as many people would have at this moment, and went ahead to have a conversation with what sounded like a police officer, as her voice was identical to an officer that was in the 2017 police news article. "People keep calling this. I suggest you hide this number. People will find that it was me," said the anonymous person who picked up. "I agree," said the other person. Lance was intrigued by this conversation. Quentin was intrigued by this conversation. He then went ahead and looked at social media to try and find relatives or friends of Lance. Chapter 3. The Botched Meetup. As Quentin was investigating even more, he discovered a group that was dedicated to trying to track the murder case of Lance. Quentin was inquisitive, so he decided to associate into the group. As he pressed join, he now knows I will have to take some time from work for him to be interested in this case. It was late, so Quentin headed off to sleep after a long day of investigation. Where have I gone? As the sun was rising, Quentin's alarm clock struck 7 a.m. A beeping noise occurred from it. Quentin woke up in a lazy manner and checked the dial. It was a Saturday, so Quentin would have had the day off anyway. He instantly remembered about last night, so he went straight to his computer. I can't do this, man. Where am I? Luckily, he glanced at the notifications from the group and found that they were having a get-together at 1:30 p.m. Quentin was ecstatic. as he now would have had people who can help him in finding out the case. Quentin swiftly got dressed and headed downstairs to lazily watch TV for a couple of hours. It was now time. It was time for Quentin to show his face as a detective for the Lance Smith case. He had screenshots of certain clues he had investigated from last night and an audio recording of the phone call. He saw the time and rushed to his vehicle as soon as he could. He noticed the meetup wasn't that far from his location, being only 300 metres away. As he drove to the place, he noticed that the meetup was in a strange, dark alleyway. An alleyway with not a lot of information to Quentin. It seemed dull, miserable and abandoned. He then went ahead to wait in the alley. A couple of seconds later, he saw 4 people in fully black jackets and trousers. "So, you saw a meetup, didn't you?" said one of the people. He didn't want to reply, as it seemed as if they were going to do something to Quentin. He then tried to rush, but one of the men caught him. Another one brought out a gun. "Try to run away," they said. "You thought that we were innocent little people trying to solve a case. Well, guess what? It was 15 years ago, so shut up about it and we might not kill you." Quentin was petrified. Why? Why could they have done this? As the man slowly let go, Quentin hesitated. After a few seconds of speculation, he instantly jumped at the man with the gun, knocking him out and stealing his gun. The other men pulled out weapons, one with a knife. Quentin grabbed the gun and stole the magazines from his pocket, and in a matter of microseconds, instantly shot the man's chest. Then, without warning, dived onto the path and, like a bowling alley, took out two men with the same bullet. He rushed back up, dropped the gun, and fled for his life back to the car. "I knew those lessons would come in handy," he thought to himself. As a police siren was heard by Quentin, and he briskly accelerated, turning on his boost. He fortunately fled from the scene and trekked to his house. He took the deepest breath of his life and went to take a nap. Chapter 4: Teamwork. The Lance Smith case was all that was on Quentin's mind, but he did not stop. He would never even think about wanting to stop. He's been so intrigued at this point that there will be no reason as to why he would quit this far on. Even if this group was a set-up, that didn't stop him. Quentin was focused like never before. This was all in his mind. Why? There's one reason. The witness was him. He saw the murder with his own eyes. Quentin finally had this memory unlocked back into his head. This is why he was so interested. But how did he forget? Did he have amnesia? But now that he remembered this, he became super focused. He decided to ring that number again as he had it written down. The phone was ringing. It was silent. No one picked up. It was as if the phone was cut off. It must have been from the conversation Quentin overheard. They must have cut it off from the call he made. He then realised he forgot about the other person who sounded identical to the one that was doing the first news outbreak regarding the case. Quentin walked to the police station as he was burnt out from everything happening from driving his car. As he reached the police station, an officer mentioned his name, Bailey Peterson, the guy focused to the Lance Smith case. "He shows a try-hard. All I can think about him regarding the case." Quentin was intrigued. He realised that early on he was just chased by the police, so without hesitation he left. So as he got home, he went to take a nap on his sofa. Quentin now knows the name of the officer, so he went onto police records and found his name and phone number. He decided to give this number a call, as it may give more information on the killer. The phone did not answer. Nobody was there. He then searched his name on a database and found the phone number completely different from the one given in the police record website. He gave this one a call, and there was a strange corrupted noise from the other end. Blah, 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 blah. The noise was nothing like Quentin had heard. As he was audio recording it, he uploaded it to his computer and ran it through a spectrogram. On the spectrogram, it read, "Vel is likeless. It's not too late for more." Quentin was absolutely shocked at what he had just found. He must have found the killer's name. Quentin instantaneously rushed back to the station with audio, picture and video proof. As he got to the police station, he went to reception and told the officer about this case and the evidence. Another wimpy kid trying to solve a decade-old murder case. Better try to do something better with your life, buddy. Quentin was annoyed at this. It didn't make sense to him though. Trying to solve a 15-year-old case is quite useless. But Quentin was determined. Quentin was resilient, although he now has no idea what to do next. When Quentin got to his home, he was thinking of what to do next as he was stroking his cat. Suddenly, the cat bounced off the sofa and went to close paw at some notes. There were notes left on the armchair that were work of his work assignments. Quentin had the idea of, if this case was planning to be solved, there'd be some paperwork for it. Although Quentin would have no idea how or why he can get the paperwork. He then scavenged the internet left and right, trying to find every little detail of even a sign that's remotely close to some paperwork. He noticed in a different news article from a week after the murder, there was a sign of paperwork on the bottom left of the screen, and it was a police station coming from Wales. Quentin took a big sigh and hesitated. Is going to Wales just to see paperwork going to be worth it? Quentin thought that there was no other way for him to know more on this case. I'll go, but I need to find some evidence first, he thought to himself. Firstly, Quentin went to see a mutual friend of his, as he saw that he was also quite interested in the case, so he drove to his house. Ah, Quentin, I haven't seen you in a while, eh? He said. So you want to know what's happening with this case? Quentin stood still. His friend was speaking quite weird. He hadn't seen him in ages, so he has changed compared to what he was last time he saw him. Yeah, I do, Quentin hesitantly muttered. All right, Mosh, this is what I've got here. Paperwork for the case? Absolutely, right here. And you know what it says? What? The killer's name, Felix Lacus, and that's all it's there. Yeah, I know that. And I've looked in the database and there's no information about him, so it must have been deleted or it's not the real murderer. Well, I've actually found what this guy looks like. You have? Absolutely. Wow, that's our guy then. Well, now all I have to do is find him. Excuse me, you? I help with this, so it should be we. Okay, fine, you can join me. Thanks. That's all right. Quentin was astonished. He now knows what the killer looks like. No trace on the whereabouts of him, so they were still stuck on that. Quentin got in his car with his friend and he drove to the different police station. Now he knows his face along with his name. Chapter 5, A Court Killer. Quentin, along with his friend, travelled to the police station in the city where the murder took place. Well, I bet we're going to get him, Quentin's friend said. Sure, we are going to find him, as he replied. As they got to the police station, they walked to reception. Quentin had a bad feeling. He loved trying to solve this, and it ends already. He felt a bad shockwave trembling through his body at the moment he walked inside, wondering what he's going to do after this case is solved. Hey there, I've got some evidence on who the killer is, Quentin's friend said. He showed the receptionist a picture. I've seen this many times, but unfortunately that's an officer, and he has an alibi, she said. Oh yeah, well I want to see him and know his alibi. Sorry, he's on his officer trial at the moment, and even if he was here, I couldn't tell you. He seemed useless when I looked here anyway. Excuse me, that's very rude to say something like that to an officer. Oh, does it look like I care? Absolutely not, sir, but you will when these officers kick you out. The officers then kicked him out of the building. Were you with him? The receptionist said. Oh no, I was going to say something, but I forgot. He then ran out, grasping his friend's hand. Hey, where are we going? He spoke. I think I know who it could be. He ran to his car. Get in. I know 3 suspects who it could be. Who? Alright, first one is obvious. Felix Lacus. With a picture of him, he has the same profile that matches the one on the board as you go into the police station, and in the spectrogram I did of the call. Second one is Bailey Peterson. He's a guy who works at the Cambridge police station, and I overheard him talking about how people keep calling his number and how they will find out it was him. But he has an alibi of also being an officer and evidence of him trying to find information. Last person is a Macedonian news reporter by the name of Georgie Vasco. He mysteriously knows a lot about this murder and has made many news articles about it, saying the killer is unknown and he has no evidence, despite all of what we have found, and he also has no alibi. And you could be right there, maybe it ain't Felix Lacus at all. Well, I don't know how I could do this, but I want to round them all up and solve this case once and for all. It'll be a tough job, but worth to solve this. Firstly, Quentin went to drive to the Cambridge police station and get Bailey Peterson. Luckily, he was outside as he had just finished his shift and is on lunch break. Quentin rolled down his car window to speak. Excuse me, sir, can you go in my car, please? Quentin said. Why? Bailey replied. I need to speak to you. I'm good, thanks. Wait, is that Sam in your car? You know Sam? Yeah, I used to go to school with him. I did, Sam said. Well then, I'll come with you. Bailey got in a car. So, where are we going? He said. Somewhere nice, Sam replied. Now Quentin needs to find Georgie. Hey Bailey, Sam said. Do you know where Georgie is, a news reporter? Not sure, Bailey replied. If anyway, he would normally hang out at the Bahamas Way Club at this time of night. Quentin and Sam left no comment as they drove to the club, and there was Georgie. Outside, as if he were waiting for her to pick us up. Hey Georgie, Quentin exclaimed. Come here, I want to have a nice little chat with you. Excuse me now, I'm not going to miss my stunning night and just come speak to some random stranger. Look, you may be a friend of me, but I give you no excuse to talk to me, no matter what it's about. There might be other ways of making you talk. No, thank you, I already said I refuse. Sam, Bailey, come with me. They all go out the car. Without warning, Georgie noticed Bailey made a rapid getaway. Quentin, Sam and Bailey were all wanting to chase Georgie. Why are we chasing this guy? Bailey said. Maybe our killer of Lance Smith, your favourite case, Sam replied. Georgie then skidded over a car, ran over the road and jumped over a fence. You aren't getting me this time, Officer P, Georgie snapped. They kept running. Without warning, Georgie turned the gun in his left hand. Don't move, Georgie uttered. Quentin went to hide behind Bailey in a swift manner. Georgie, put the gun down and we'll talk like gentlemen, Bailey stated. We know you killed Lance Smith. I wanted to help you cover it up, but now I'm not feeling so corrupt. Georgie slowly put the gun down onto the floor. Bailey brought out his handcuffs and arrested him. Georgie Vasco, I'm arresting you on the murder of Lance Smith. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm the offence if you do not mention and question something you may later rely on. I trusted you, Officer B, Georgie shouted, interrupting Bailey. What a scummy person you are, messing your friend. His job could have been a clean slate, but you just had to blow it up. Vidas like us would never done such a thing, you disgusting being. Bailey left no comment as he placed Georgie in handcuffs. The killer had been found. Quentin was exaggeratingly shocked from how Bailey wasn't the killer, but rather he was trying to cover it up. Quentin hid a smile as he had done this job. Quentin, for trying your best to solve this case, I'll give you a surprise. I'm shocked how you've solved this. Respectable job to you, Bailey exclaimed. Thank you, officer, Quentin replied. It wasn't easy, but I solved the murder case. Sam turned to Quentin and smiled. He gave him a handshake. Well done, Quentin. You solved something no one will ever try to, he said. You mean we, don't you? Quentin replied. Absolutely. We both did this. They walked together by each other's side and sink while staring at the glowing moon in the frosty night. The end.